Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third round of the ESRA Riley Daytona Prototype Challenge here on Glacier TV. The cars, as you see right now, are lining themselves up on the grid. We have a total of 36 cars, yeah, that's the one, who attempted to qualify today. Two drivers didn't set a qualifying time, and Jose Carlos Campanuccio unfortunately will not be able to start this race as he qualified outside the 107% rule. We're going to run through your grid straight away, and Mick Claridge gets pole position today with a time of 1 minute 16.635. Arrow Nom behind him, he is about 0.2 of a second further back, just 3/1000ths of a second separating Nom and third place driver Andrea Messario, who sits in the third position. Alongside him in row number 2 will be Diego Comini, Emma Palumbo and David Ward in row number 3, Mika Lickery and Thomas Van Boosel in row 4, Slasse Prosen and Kevin Viekmans in row number 5. The rest of the grid will be coming up on your screen momentarily. Worthington along with Dan Blake for this race in the commentary booth. And Dan, Laguna Seca is on the shortest tracks in all of sports car racing. It is tight, it is complex, and of course you have that corkscrew. Traffic will come into play a lot today.
It will indeed. Well, as you said, 36 cars trying to get around this track, and I think there'll be some quite hairy stuff on turn one, even with the rolling start. But as you said, it's going to be very, very tight, and I think overtaking opportunities will be pretty rare. So if you get the opportunity, they're going to have to try and make them stick.
So the ESRA even, Riley Daytona Pro Challenge is brought to you by GT Omega Racing. And the cars right now are heading themselves on the grid. A little bit of news from pit road. I've already talked about the fact that Campanuccio will not be eligible to start this race in that number 44 car. He has struggled this season. He's been at the grid the previous 2 races, but because it's the shortest track, of course, the 107% rule means that the times are a lot closer normally, and he was unable to get himself within 107% in qualifying. Some news from David Ward as well. We heard how he crashed out at Watkins Glen. He had some power steering issues. Now, they come back from this race, which is why he's qualified down the grid. And I spoke to him before the race. He said that he's had to go to a backup machine, and things just haven't really been working for him. So it'll be a case of whether that number 5 car can hold on over the course of this 45-minute race. Out front, however, the number 340 car of Mick Claridge, he gets pole position. And out front, you've got 4 drivers separated by 2.5 of a second, Dan. Very close out front, and traffic for these drivers, talk about up and down the field, these 4 drivers is how you navigate the traffic and how you navigate your pit stop. When you come in, that's going to be critically important.
Yeah, especially as some of these drivers are fighting up for the championship, of course. You've got Diego Comini, who starts 4th, who leads the championship. You've got Thomas Van Boosel a little bit further down, but some of these drivers at the front will be trying to get every point they can. So pit stops will be a crucial part of this race, also going through traffic, with there being so much of it this afternoon.
So the pace car currently working itself through the penultimate corner. It's going to make that turn down towards pit road. Mick Claridge, you can actually get on the gas very early here. It's a bit like Formula 1 races where you can actually really bolt coming into the final corner. But Mick Claridge is going to hold the field back. Now, will he get going? He's actually a little bit loose there as he came out the final corner. So he held the field for a little bit more. Now you see the Apex Brazil green flag in hand. We're racing round number 3 of the ESRA Championship as they all storm down in turn of 1. The Team GT car of Andrea Messario is going to try and look down the inside right there of Aeronom. He will complete the pass. You've got Team GT cars everywhere in the top 5. Emma Palumbo thought about making a move down the inside as well. He was not able to do so. He's locked into the 4th position. I'm having a look through it. It looks as though most of the cars have been able to get through turn number 1 and 2 okay. They are too wide, and Peter Ridley almost makes contact there with Carl Hohen Heglin. Has to work themselves through turn number 3, but they come up to the trickiest section of the racetrack now, Dan. They come out of turn 5, and look, remember, it's all over the rear right now of Mick Claridge. Sorry, I take that back. It's Nom all over, having Palumbo all over his rear. The top 5 cars very closely separated.
Yeah, very close. There's a move maybe coming down here as well across the grass, and there's some contact there. T-bone there as Emma Palumbo. Nothing he can do about that one. And David Ward nearly getting involved there as well. So we saw similar on the first lap at Watkins Glen, and unfortunately it's happened again at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and it was two Team GT cars that got together there, and it's sitting on cold tires at the start of the race. To try and get yourself a replay at the moment, it was Diego Comuni in the number 24 machine who just locked up under braking. He took me basically to the gravel on the inside. Nothing you can do on the slippery surface there, and just caught there Imam Palumbo. So both race drivers have incidents there, and I would not be surprised when I saw Palumbo out of the race. And I'm just having a look on the GlacierTV X-Low cam, and I have to say how close it was with David Ward. I'm a little bit sure he had a slight tap there. I'm having a look at the front of his car. Looks like he has a little bit of tweaking, but not too much, and he is able to continue for the time being at least. We'll run through your top 10 as it stands. It's Claret, from Massaro, from Nom, from Ward, from Boostle, from Lickery, from Person, from Beekman, from Goodison, and Ridley. They are your top 10 right now. Interestingly enough, a lot of drivers, pretty much everyone was able to get through lap number 1 okay though, Dan. And already though, the rear of the field is 30 seconds behind your race leader on a lap that only takes 1 minute 19 to get through.
Just shows how much slowing down there was, and also incident between the two teammates also happened at the front, because the front three, we've got about a 3-second gap back to the next driver. You got Aaron Nom 1.2 back, then you go back to 4.4 for David Ward. So these two got a bit of a clean break, but as you said, Will, the field is very spread out already, and we've only got 1 lap to go.
Right then, so we are currently checking in on that battle for the race lead. The gap is about 8 tenths of a second as they come past the finish line to complete their second lap of the race. Of course, it is a timed race. It is 45 minutes. Drivers will have to make 1 pit stop. And as I said at the start of this broadcast, when you make that pit stop, especially if you're navigating yourself through traffic, that could be the critical factor in this race. I honestly expect to see a lot of drivers go very light in their first stint to try and get themselves into some clean air in the middle of the pack when pit stops come around. Having a look through at the grid right now, and Andy Goodison, Kevin Beekman, they have just what positions? No, they haven't. But Goodison is about 4 tenths of a second behind Kevin Beekman, who's all over the rear of Sasso Cruson as they work themselves up the hill again, that climb to the left-hand side. You clip the curve there before you come down to the most famous corner in all of North American motorsport. It's like corkscrew. Flick it to the right, then to the left once again. You go down 3 stories in the space of about 3 seconds in that corner. Then you're downhill all the way through the corner afterwards, as you then come down into the second to last corner. And I have to say that Sasso Prosim, his car doesn't seem to be handling one in a straight line, but is very good getting onto the power.
Yeah, that's very quick getting on the power, and also someone who's very quick getting on the power at the moment is David Ward. David Ward is actually faster than the leaders at the moment. The gap is down to 3.6 seconds between Ward and Mick Claret, and Ward right in the back near enough of Aaron Nom. So you may have had a slight little lick of contact, as you said, Will, on that first lap, but David Ward's not letting it get to him, and despite his power steering failure, which you may have as well, he is certainly the quickest man on the track at the moment.
Last time by, David Ward did a 1 minute 17.7 compared to Aaron Nom's 1 minute 18.4. And that was on lap 2. In fact, last time by, David Ward did a 1:17.0. You compare that to your race leader, Mick Claret, who did a 1 minute 17.8. Andrew Massaro, who did a 1 minute 17.7. Aaron Nom doing a 1 minute 17.9. I talk about the different strategies in this race, and I've got a feeling that David Ward is on a very short first stint, trying to get himself out into some clean air for his second stint, and then hope that he can just maintain enough an advantage on that second half of the race. Because the gap is really spreading out now in that top 10. But Claret is still leading the race, but Massaro is not letting him get away just yet. That gap is still just 8 tenths of a second on the racetrack in the battle for the race lead. And it looks like they are very evenly matched as far as lap time is concerned. Normally, I mean, last time by, Massaro was, what, about half a tenth faster. It's been that way about the last 2 or 3 laps now.
Yeah, Claret and Massaro running together, and David Ward and Aaron Nom running together. David Ward smashes a cone there in front of his car there. Don't get stuck under the car, but running quite consistently, some of these drivers in the early stages of the race. And you said about David Ward with his wanting to do a quicker strategy, but I don't think he really wants to be stuck behind cars now at the moment.
Just to let you know, we have a couple of people classified as either out of the race or on pit road. Matthew Soletti is out of the race. Vino Messeur is classified as 1 lap down at the moment. He's trying to get some repairs to his number 28 machine, and he has scored all the way down in the 33rd position on the racetrack. Everyone else is still scored on the lead lap, the last one of those drivers. Well, that is Jonathan Hurty there in the number 32 car. I'm having a look, no damage. Just going to say he's been significantly off the pace in these first couple of laps. Let's check in on the mid-pack very quickly, because there's an interesting battle going on right now. Oh, as I just saw a car that was off the racetrack there. That was Peter Ridley from the 11th position. I was just about to talk to him about him there, and he lost it coming up the hill by the look of it. Yes, he did. He just caught that red sausage curb a little bit too much in that number 21 Infinity Esports car. Just grazed the wall at low speed. But that is one of the things with this racetrack. People talk about the carousel, the corkscrew all the time. However, the corner before that, coming up the hill, Dan, it can be incredibly treacherous because you need to take as much of that curb as possible to get a good apex speed through the corner. Take a little bit too much, and you're literally going to have no steering, and the car's just going to snap around on you.
Yeah, Peter Ridley's found that out of the south. He hit the curb and it spat him right up. A bit of damage as well to the front of that car where he hit the wall. So Peter Ridley is losing a lot of positions on this lap, and you've got to think that his race now has been severely compromised as a result of just taking that corner curb maybe a little bit too aggressively.
He went down from P11 down to P27 on the racetrack, and more importantly, he lost himself 30 seconds in the process, because after he got himself out of the wall, he actually had to run on the kind of sand all the way up to the corkscrew. He wasn't able to get back onto the racetrack because the amount of traffic going past. He wasn't allowed to get into their way. So he lost a ton of time there. A 16 position loss there for Peter Ridley. He was almost as if he's a New York Giants player right now. But in the battle for the race lead, it is still about it's going up actually. It's about a 1.1 second gap between Mick Page and Andrea Massaro. There is a little bit of lap traffic already, which is coming into play, and that is Jonathan Hershey, as I said, who's running down in that 32nd position. Now, he is about 11 seconds back from the next car on the racetrack, the number 29 car of Patrice Languette. So already lap traffic coming into play. You see there that Hershey just moves completely out of the way, although you do not want to be running off the racetrack the entire race, because this track is so short that if you let a couple of drivers go past, you'll literally get freight trained, and you lose about 10 seconds a lap if you run offline for about 4 corners in a row. Aero Nom right now is sat in that 3rd position. He is about half a second ahead of David Ward. It does seem as though now David Ward has got into that dirty air, he's not been able to make that move on Aero Nom in that battle for what is now 3rd position on the racetrack. Last time by, and 1 minute 18.1 for Ward, and 1 minute 18.4 there for Aero Nom. And a car ahead of them. That is going to be interesting. You see, that was the lap car of Jonathan Hershey there, who held up Aero Nom. That puts David Ward right behind him in the battle for the 3rd position. Now, if Ward can get a good run out of this final corner, he might be able to set Aero Nom up into the 1st corner, but I'm not sure if he's going to be quite close enough. The draft might come into play here.
Yeah, it could indeed, but that was certainly not what Aero Nom wanted to see going out the corkscrew. Now David Ward trying to get behind the car of Aero Nom. He's trying to go down the inside maybe, but he's going to think better of it. Tries to take the wider line to maybe try and get a cut back for turn number 2, which he does, but not quite to the extent which means he can get past Aero Nom. So they as they were, Nom in 3rd and David Ward in 4th.
Get this. We are already working ourselves on lap number 8, and we have not even had 10 minutes of this race scored complete. Run for your top 5. It is still Mick Page from Andre Massario, from Aero Nom, from David Ward, and then from Thomas Van Boosel. Your retiree update, I talked about Sleddy being out of the race. Lasseur is still sat on pit road, and of course we have one lap car, a lap down, that is Jonathan Hershey, who narrowly avoided there a huge impact in that battle for 3rd position on the racetrack. Next car to go lap down, and that'll be Patrice Languette, who is about 5 seconds back from Lorenzo Gabotti. They're running in the 30th and 31st position right now. The field, especially in that bottom half, is really spread out. Some cars already over 45 seconds behind your race leader, and they're battling for position as well. People like, Kenneth Dummer, Peter Ridley, Andre Deomikis, who's running all the way down in 24th, 25th, 26th positions on the racetrack, Dan. If this carries on, then, and they carry on battling for position, they're going to be lapped in the next 5 or 6 laps. Then this is where traffic really becomes difficult, because of course there are no official blue flag rules in this type of racing. The lead cars have got to get a final way past, but still the lap cars are still trying to battle for position.
Yeah, but the time differences, it's almost like a multi-class race. You wouldn't think that these were all Riley Daytona prototypes, setups and drivers. I mean, there's a very, very varied spread of drivers, so in a way it is a bit like a multi-class race for these ones at the front, because they have to get through the slower traffic, and I think there'll be quite a few of them to get through for the first 10 minutes of anything to go by.
And so we're now working ourselves on lap number 9. We are about 12 minutes now into this race. This is the third round of the ESRA Championship here on Glacier TV, presented by GT Omega Racing. And I'm having a look right now at the battle for 7th position on the racetrack. And this was between Kevin Beekmans and Diego Comini. Now, Comini was right up to the rear of Kevin Beekmans last time they came past the stripe. He's lost himself about 1.5 seconds in that number 24 Team GT machine in this lap alone, however. And Beekmans has been really putting the pressure on. Beekman's last lap was a 1 minute 18.6. And compare that to McAliquy, he's currently circulating about 0.2 seconds faster and trying to close out the gap between P6 and P7 has now come down to 0.6 on the racetrack.
Yeah, Kevin Beekmans we've seen on Glacier TV before, quite a tough competitor. He's catching up to Ikalerki later on the brakes there. But talk about Diego Comini, our championship leader. He's actually got a bit of damage on the front of his car from that incident earlier, the man in Palumbo. So that's probably slowing him down a little bit. His time's a 1:18.7, so a lot slower probably than he wants to be going.
And as I say, ahead of Van Boostel is David Ward. So in fact, ahead of McAliquy is Thomas Van Boostel. Ahead of him is David Ward. Ahead of him is Aero Nom. And that gap between Aero Nom and David Ward, that has kind of gone up to 1.1 seconds on the racetrack. And last time by, Ward was 1 minute 19.035 compared to Aero Nom's 1 minute 18.473. So Dirty Air is starting to hurt David Ward, or perhaps the steering issues he has had are now starting to come into play in that number 5 car. Not running that usual number 69 machine that we know and love from the Englishman of David Ward in this race here today. And I keep on talking about the field getting spread out. It really is. However, a great battle right now. P12 on the racetrack. That is between Axel Dwork and Doranio Rasciuti. Now, last time by, Dwork did a 1 minute 20.2. Rasciuti a 1 minute 22.0, which cost him to lose that position there to Dwork in the number 99 car. But the 77 is still pushing on. It looks like, again, another Team GT driver. It looks like, oh, I saw a car there, which is backwards on the racetrack. And that was Sase Prossen there, who was in 11th position. And something happened to him out of the final corner. So we'll come back to Dwork in just one moment. But Sase Prossen, we'll try and get ourselves a replay up. This is like the conclusion of lap number 10 through the final corner. And Dwork just caught the, Prossen just caught the white line there. Spun himself around and just glanced the inside concrete barrier. But again, this track is very narrow, and those white lines, you know, you use every inch of the racetrack here. Low curves, except for those red sausage curves down, and you want to abuse as much of the track as you can. Prosen just took a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's the same as we said before about the corner going up to the corkscrew. You don't want to take too much of these curbs there. As you said, you want to take some of them, but just that little bit too much. And in this track in particular, you can bite you very nastily. As you saw there, he was backwards against the pit wall, a bit of damage. But our leader, Mick Cloud, has got a couple of tail enders kind of in front of him now. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets across that. One of them's going to go well wide onto the... That's good driving there to let him through. And in fact, he's gone right across the gravel, but he's got out of the way.
It was good driving until he went way too wide coming out of the corkscrew. That was Nicholas Husum in the number 29 car there. Sorry, in the number 1 machine, running in the 29th position. And Mick Clyde, his next victim will be Patrice Leggett to put a lap down. Carswell scored a lap down for the time being. Nicholas Husum, there is a Gabotti, and Jonathan Hutcherchi, and also Andreas Demikis there in the number 36 car, who it looks as though he has come onto pit road. He qualified in 23rd position. He's now classified in the 32nd position. And let's talk about being a lapped car here, Dan, because I always talk about the fact this is such a narrow racetrack, and it reminds me of when what will essentially be the US Sports Car Series next year goes to Lime Rock Park. And it's a very narrow track there as well, a very short track, and you've got multi-class racing going on, and these cars just want to get out of the way, especially at a place like the corkscrew where you can't see over the blind apex. But coming out the corkscrew, it's a very fast left-hander. You go offline there, there's just no grip at all, and that is exactly what we saw happen with that last lap car, Nicholas Husson.
Yeah, you're a bit loose, and also going to get a bit loose there. Nom got loose coming out of the ass corner. It's like David Ward to have a bit of a run, but it's not be close enough. But yeah, as you said, Will, with it being so narrow, there's so many places that you can really lift off without affecting you. And there's a spinner there as well, trying to get out of the way. He's gone too wide, again? Lost grip and a spinner. So just shows what you were saying, Will, that going offline here is a much less grip than maybe some other places.
And that was Houston, and he has got some real wing damage. I'm a little bit surprised that Race Control hasn't served him black flag, asking him to bring his car onto pit road and get that rear spoiler replaced. Normally it would take about 3 or 4 minutes on pit road for him to replace that spoiler. And it does look as though that number 1 car is struggling right now. I'm just having a look at him, and just the rear end of the car is stepping out, and it just doesn't look as though he's got any aerodynamic grip right now. Of course though, Dan, these cars are designed in such a way that, you know, you tailor air all the way from the front of the car all the way to the back, and if you damage one piece of bodywork, it affects the entire handling of the car, and it's so unpredictable here.
Yeah, it's one place where you want the guys to be pretty predictable, but it's definitely something that you will try and keep up with. David Ward on the back here of Arrow Nom coming down the start-finish straight. He's going to try and get into a bit of a slipstream, but I don't think it's quite going to be enough to go into the first corner. He needs to be a little bit closer to make that move stick, but David Ward's certainly letting him know he's there. David Ward got a lot wider into turn 1, I see here, than Arrow Nom, and that's something which he's done the last couple of laps.
Yeah, and it's very simple. You can try and do the crossover. So you take a wider apex in, you try and dive down the outside, to then set yourself your car up to work well on the inside of what technically is still turn 3. Of course, turn 1 on this racetrack really is that left-hand kick just as you come past the start-finish line. Most drivers prefer to turn 2 as the hairpin itself, turn 3 therefore being the 90-degree right-hander before turn 4. But David Wood, I talked about strategy at the start of this race, Dan, and we are getting into lap traffic now. We're going to get into the main bulk of the lap traffic, in my opinion, about the next 5 or 6 laps, judging by the lap times up and down the field. Do you think some of these guys have probably got themselves on a split strategy? They've got the fuel to go late into the race, but at the same time, have in the back of their mind, if they can find a gap and their pit crews can tell them, if you pit now, we can get you out in some clean air, they might come in a little bit early.
About giving them options, really. They want to have all ends covered, really. They want to be able to get clean air, but if they need to battle out on the track, then that's what they can do. But that's probably what they'll be doing, trying to maximise the best option they can, and then at cause notice, and they can go in and get their pit stop done, and then carry on with their race.
Right, then let's have a look. The biggest gainers and losers in this race so far. I talked about Dworak earlier. I'll come back to him in a moment. He is up 6 positions, your biggest movement in the top 10. Hagelin and Goodison are both up 4 positions. Friedman and Busel up 3 positions so far in this race. Raschuti is up 7 spots. He started 18th, now running in the 11th position. Although he just lost a position there to White. So now he, in fact, Raschuti, I'm not sure, I think he might have come onto pit road. It's an incident actually with the number 77 car of Dario Raschuti. Yes, he is. And it looks as though he is out of the race now. And that was an incident down at the corkscrew. I'm just getting word from my ear. Down at the corkscrew, he lost the car, spun it around as he's coming downhill. It looks as though he was originally able to save the car. Then he brought his car back out into traffic. I'm not quite sure. Oh, he got himself stuck there on the transition from the sand to the tarmac, and he just couldn't get his car back onto the racetrack.
That's a shame. He's managed to beach the car there, so he's not been able to get it back on track, and that really is, it's a blow. It's not something which you know your luck's not in when that happens to you, but very unfortunate that it's got beached. But the leaders now are coming and got some traffic. There's a couple of cars in front of them, and the gap has gone down now to under a second between Claridge and Massiero, and the two in front of them look like they're battling quite fiercely.
They are, and they've pulled out an 8-second gap to Tom, who's running in that 3rd position. He saw a stunning Gyrocam shot through the corkscrew of David Ward there, lap himself and going. It just really shows you the elevation change and the directional change as you go for that section of the racetrack. But for Massario right now, I'm wondering whether or not it'd be better for him to try and come on a different strategy than Mick Claridge. Of course, the leader, everyone always gets out of the way for the leader because they don't want to be that guy. So if Claridge comes in early, Massario might as well go late. If Claridge goes on for another 5 minutes, I would argue the fact that perhaps Massario would want to come into pit road perhaps a lap or 2 before Claridge to hope he gets himself into clean air.
That was something that Massario will be thinking about, but Mick Claridge is going to try. He's got one car in front of him which is holding up going into the last turn, and then doesn't seem to be too much traffic in front. I can see one other car, but it looks like they're relatively traffic free at the moment. But Massario will be thinking about things he can do to try and outsmart the 340 of Mick Claridge.
Don't forget, coming your way on GlacierTV in about 11 days' time, it is the iRacing.com Talladega 500, Saturday, the 19th of October. Start time for that will be 7 p.m. GMT, live and exclusive, the World Tour of iRacing on Glacier TV. Meanwhile, it is Andre Rosario now closed up to about 7 tenths of a second behind Mick Hurge. That is your battle for the race lead. Aero Nom is 8.2 seconds behind your race leader. David Ward a further 1 second back. Third and fourth position has been able to open up a 3-second gap now to Thomas Van Boosel, who in turn has been able to get himself a 5-second gap to Mika Lickery. But Kevin Beekman has been really all over the rear of Mika Lickery since the drop of the green flag. Hasn't been able to do anything, however, to that number 69 car.
No, I'll be seeing that back of that car in his sleep tonight. I think he's seen that much of it today, but he's keeping that close, trying to force the car Mika Lerky into a mistake. But Mika, a very experienced driver like Kevin, so it's going to take a lot for him to force the error. But he's going to try, as Kevin Beekman, to make him make the error.
Behind them, you have Carl Hohenhegelin and Andy Goodison. They were battling for 8th position on the racetrack. However, it does look as though that Goodison has fallen back pretty dramatically in that last lap. He's lost himself an absolute ton of time. I'm just checking to see whether he's lost the position. No, he hasn't. But Andy Goodison was 1 second back at the conclusion of the last lap, and Hegelin is now coming past the start-finish line. Goodison only coming to the final corner, and Goodison has made a mistake there in that number 11 machine. And what that's done is allowed Axel Gurk to gain about 4 seconds over him on the racetrack. This is one thing that's weird about Laguna Seca. Passing is difficult, we all know that, and the field spreads out quite a lot. If this race was probably another 20 minutes longer, you'd see this field coming back together towards the end of the race due to pit stops, due to traffic, due to everything else. But for Goodison right now, I mean, he had a substantial lead there. As I have to say, actually, it looks like Doyak has actually come onto pit. He's come onto pit road. He's coming out of pit road right now in that 99 car, and he is going to be so close to the Martini machine now of Andre Bernandi, and that is what you do not want to do if you come out of pit road. Be stuck right behind another car, as Doyak is right now. The tyres work best when they're at their coolest, and Doyak can't use the advantage of that now because he's stuck behind Fred Joseph in that 66 car.
Yeah, it'd be the worst nightmare possible for Axel Jorak. He's stuck behind that car. Well, they with the faster tyres, should have more grip. He has to get past quite quickly.
Oh, God, he's not going down there,
trying to make it down the inside. Good move there from Doyak.
Well, you say a good move by Doyak. I actually say that was a pretty scary move to make by Doyak. If Andrea Bernandi realised you cannot go too wide through that turn, through turn number 6, as you head yourself up to the carousel. The corner historically has always been single file. And it does look as though that Bernardi just gave him the position there. Keeping an eye out on pit road as Carl Hohenhegelin there spins the car around. And that is coming out of turn number 2 there. Hagelin spins that 0-2 car around. And what that does is it allows Goodison to close up just a little bit. That gap is back down to 3.5 seconds. Perhaps tyre wear late in the run is coming into play here, Dan.
Mika Lerky's been off as well. Well, we talked about earlier, and it looks like it's happened in traffic. But Kevin Beekman has gone past Mika Lerky. Mika Lerky's got damage across the track again. Mika Lerky struggling very much so with that car, and I think we'll be seeing him pulling into the pits because there's a problem there. And also there was a yellow car on the corkscrew as well. So Mika Lerky has not had a very good lap, and I believe it was traffic related, which has caused the problem.
Yeah, and as I say, it was the yellow car was actually Thomas Wetback in the number 71 car, who's at the time running in the 23rd position. But Leclerc, let's have a look. I believe he has bought his car. No, he hasn't bought his car. Yes, he has bought his car. Actually, I tell you what, it wasn't lap traffic. It was in some ways the fact that lap traffic was going slowly ahead, and that was Lorenzo Gabotti, who was running in the 27th position. What it actually was is Kevin Beekman just ran into the rear of him, turned the number 69 car of Mika Leclerc in that Marlboro car around, and Leclerc, you are right. No, he stayed out on the racetrack, Dan, so he's just wanting to make that extra lap before he comes onto pit road. Didn't look as though there was too much damage, but you have to say, having a look at that replay in slow motion, Beekman just ran into the rear of him, and you've got to be spatially aware at this racetrack. And Beekman wasn't paying attention to the car ahead of Leclerc, he just saw Liquid going slowly and wasn't able to react quickly enough.
Now, as we said before, the problem with traffic it being so narrow is the car slowed down, Lucky slowed down, and it was almost like a bit of a domino effect. But Kevin Viekemans didn't stop and went into the back of Mika Lurky, unfortunately. And coming into the pits from 4th position is that no, it's not Thomas Van Boezel. Thought Van Boezel was pitting there, but he's not. There is
Mick
a car on
Claridge.
pit lane though.
Mick Claridge is on pit road. By the way, Ashadi lost his car at the corkscrew that last time, Brian. But Mick Claridge is on pit road from the race lead. That will hand over the lead to Andrea Massario, who has gone at least 1 lap longer in this race. Now, this is important for Claridge as he comes out of pit road. It's a very slow pit road speed, but because he's the last car, it means he can literally just floor the gas coming out. He's got to be careful as you come down into turn number 1. Of course, a lot of people know about Alex Zanardi back at the Euro ring. Oh, look at that double! And Claridge is pushed off the racetrack there. I talk about how you've got to be careful getting back onto the racetrack, and we'll get ourselves a replay of that up on your screen. It was Lorenzo Gabossi, who's running in the 27th position. He just came across there, the guy who was in the race lead, Mick Claridge. That might give the win to Andrea Massario if he doesn't have any issues. But Mick Claridge lost about 4 seconds in that incident, and he had to work through traffic once again. All of the traffic just dove out of his way as he tried to get past them, and Claridge was running very wide there as he works himself up the hill towards the corkscrew. This is going to be the big test. Can he actually get that car to work? Has he got any damage to his race machine? There's another car off at the ground, and that is Mika Lurky once again, who looks like he might actually be out of the race now. And that looks a little bit reminiscent to the 1996 Champ Car race that Mickley just tried to go to the inside and just smashed into the tyre barriers. And looks like that Mulber car is now going to be out of the race. But Andrea Massario is scored as your race leader. That was a very close call for Mick Claridge. Lost a lot of time, but is still in the race.
He's very, very lucky there. He got sideswiped, but didn't quite spin it. So very lucky there. Also away from the camera, David Ward's come into the pits as well, the number 5 machine. So he's now out on track, and he's just behind the car of Diego Comini, and Mick Claridge is about 5 seconds in front of them. But Massario and Aero Nom are still on the track, and also Thomas Van Boezel, who is about 3 seconds behind Nom. So these 3 cars, if they can, it's like Massario, if he can keep going the way he is, he's got clear track, he very well might find himself in the league when he comes out of the pit stop, but he's going around for another lap, so there's more clear space rim, he's taking full advantage of it, whilst the cars behind are stuck in traffic.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to touch upon here. First of all, for Claridge, he's come out literally as if he's come into a nuclear war zone. I saw Kenneth Dummer go off there and turn him wide. I saw Smoke as he works himself up the hill for Mick Claridge. It's in all sorts of traffic right now. Is that 340 car? Yes, the traffic's moving out of the way, but he lost that time. And also, that is one of those tyres, as I say, at the coolest is when they have the most grip. I've seen a lot of cars in the last 3 or 4 laps have issues because of the fact that perhaps the tyres are overheating, they're wearing out just a little bit, and it's just no longer working for him. But having a look at your top 4, Thomas Van Boezel is on pit road, 35 miles an hour. He comes out of pit road. Let's see where Thomas Van Boezel comes out. Your ideal candidate will be Mick Claridge, who's just coming down into turn number 1 right now. And Thomas Van Boezel is literally, might actually get out ahead of Mick Claridge. It's going to be so close between them. Claridge just gets the position there over Thomas Van Boezel. But with Thomas Van Boezel, who's that far back, was able to come out right behind Mick Claridge, that means that Andrea Massario and perhaps even Aero Nom and David Ward might get ahead of that 340 car after pit stops.
David Ward's actually already pitted, but Thomas Van Boezel coming out behind Mick Claridge is definitely going to give hope to Andrea Massario and Aero Nom. They've decided to go later on in the stint. I think that could be very well for them because Massario on pit lane now. He is on pit road, but Aero Nom's going to go on for another lap. But it's Andrea Massario coming down pit lane, and as we see that Mick Claridge, where is Mick Claridge on the track? He is now just coming out the corkscrew, so Mick Claridge has actually lost quite a bit of time, as we've thought earlier on with that little side swipe. Oh, he spun it! Mick Claridge has lost even more times. He spun it, coming out the corner, pushing too hard, trying to get there, and that is definitely going to give the lead to Massario overall, because he spun as Mick Claridge, and that is a bitter blow. Mick Claridge has got David Ward right behind him now, so a lot of positions have been lost here by Mick Claridge in his pit stop window.
And I tell you what, a Team GT car almost ran over Mick Claridge. That was Diego Comini there. Is now a three-way battle between Mick Claridge, Diego Comini, who does actually get past Mick Claridge by the look of it there. No, in fact, actually Claridge was able to get past, as did David Ward. over Diego Comini. This is going to be a great scrap now for what is essentially going to be 5th, 6th and 7th position on the racetrack. And David Ward has he been able to get past Clarence? No, he hasn't, not yet. But of course, your new race leader is Aeronom for the time being, due to the fact that he hasn't pitted. Working himself through the second to last corner right now. Will he hang it to the left-hand side? No, he won't. He will go on for another lap once again. But his lap time last time by, 1 minute 19.919. Rosario is going to come past the stripe in about 15 seconds. So we'll give you an update of exactly how he is doing right now. But Kevin Vikermans in the 3rd position is going faster than Aeronom. Hagelin is going faster right now than Aeronom. But Busel, he's had a slow lap like last time by because of what happened with Clarence and everything else. But a lot of drivers going faster than Aeronom on the racetrack right now. And I think Nom should have come into pit road about 2 laps earlier.
Yeah, I think his tyres are starting to show the signs of wear maybe here. He's definitely going a lot slower, so maybe time to put some new tyres on before it's too late for Aeronom. Because of the way he's going at the moment, he might actually find himself up behind Mick Claridge in that pack if he starts losing a lot of time. But if he comes in now, I think he should just about come out in front of Mick Claridge. He's lost a lot of time as Claridge.
So we've got ourselves 12.5 minutes left on the play clock as Norman's going through some traffic as they come down into the corkscrew. That was close to himself and Lady and Monsieur did exactly what every lap car has to do. Hold your line. The faster car will try and find a way past. Robert White is the next fixer for Aeronom. I expect Nom to come and pit road this time, but he doesn't. He stays up for another lap.
That might be a call which he regrets because he's into a lot of traffic at the moment. I think Aeronom may have been better to come into pit lane, but he's going to keep on going. He's going to fight valiantly for it. As he comes across the line, the last lap for Aeronom, 1:19.5. So Aeronom is losing a bit of time here.
He's losing a lot of time. And what did I say at the start of the race, Sam? When you catch the traffic will determine where you finish the race. And right now, Andrew Masari is in a good position in that 3rd position. And then the 89 machine, the Team GT racing car. Kevin Vikermans, I'm having a look. He hasn't come onto pit road either, as far as I'm aware. So in that 2nd position. So your top 2 drivers haven't yet pitted. I'm guessing that they're not going to try and stretch their fuel out for that long. Because Nom and Vikermans are both losing quite a lot of time. Last time by Vikermans, 1 minute 19.464. 1 minute 19.505 for Aeronom last time by. And a 1 minute 19.2 for Andrew Masari. Of course, they are all having traffic to deal with. 4th place driver, Thomas Van Boosel doing a 1 minute 18.3. He won't be close enough, however, to catch up to the rear of Masario before the end of this race. And Mick Claridge and David Ward are separated by 4 tenths of a second. We saw how Ward was struggling early on to try and get past traffic. With Mick Claridge ahead of him, it's probably going to be even harder. But Claridge in that 5th position, he is now 30 seconds behind your race leader. So if Nom pits now, Nom should still come out ahead of Mick Claridge in that 340 car.
Yeah, Claridge lost 15 seconds over Masserio because Masserio 15 behind Nom, so the spin and the pits really just affected him. But David Ward, we saw earlier in the race with him, he was very quick and clean out, but as soon as he caught up to the back of Aeronom, it halted his progress, and looks very similar here behind Mick Claridge. But the 2 cars which are not pitted yet, Nom, I think Vikermans is in the pits now. In fact, yes, he is. So Kevin Vikermans pits from 2nd place.
Yeah, and 35 car, let's see where he comes out. He's already made his pit stop. He comes back out on the racetrack. This will be a net 7th, the 8th position on the racetrack for him. Of course, Vikermans had a bit of an up and down day here today. Keeping an eye on Tasso Prosen. He's just coming past the stripe right now, coming down into turn 1. Kevin Vikermans is going to get out ahead of him. So Vikermans will fall into the 7th position on the racetrack. Diego Comini about 2 seconds ahead of him. That's kind of what we expected. About 35 car there of Kevin Vikermans. And let's have a look, he's actually a bit further back, 6 seconds behind Diego Comini. And it does show that because he caught the traffic right when he was trying to push the hardest, he lost a lot more time. He's doing 1 minute 19 lap times when really he wanted to be doing mid 1 minute 15s.
Yeah, just shows how much the traffic can affect you. You can 3-4 seconds a lap if you catch him in the wrong place. But Aeronom still hasn't pitted, and this will be music to the ears of Andrea Masserio. His 14 seconds is definitely not enough for Nom to come in, take his fuel, and get back out in time. So Masserio, at the moment, has got a 14-second lead over Thomas Van Boosel. And Thomas Van Boosel, who came into this race 2nd in the championship, this is a good result for him because Diego Comini, who's leading the championship, is behind him, and also David Ward's behind him. So overall in the championship, Van Boozle looks to be making big gains at the moment.
Yeah, the Infinity Esports number 90 car there of Thomas Van Boozle currently running in your third position. We're on through the top 10. It is Aeronom who has not pitted, leading the race to 14.9 seconds over Andre Massaria. Last time by, Massaria was actually slower than Aeronom, as he's now catching the traffic that Nom was having to catch about 3 or 4 laps ago. Thomas Van Boozle in third, McLaren in fourth. He lost a ton of time, first of all getting punted almost off the racetrack by a traffic car as he came out of pit road, and then he lost even more time down at the corkscrew. He runs in fourth, with David Ward just 0.6 of a second behind. Diego Comini runs in the 6th position, and Kevin Beekman in 7th, Andy Goodison in 8th, Carl Hohenhegelen in 9th, and then Axel Dweck rounds out your top 10. Let's have a look for Aeronom. Does he make that journey onto pit road? No, he doesn't. You don't think Aeronom has been trying to save fuel this entire race, do you? Surely. I mean, you can't even drive through pit road in 15 seconds. So, realistically, if Nom has to pit, he will come home second because he's not actually close enough to possibly get ahead of Van Boozle.
Yeah, do they have to make a compulsory pit stop in this, or is it fuel limited?
I think it's fuel limited, but Aeronom, I mean, we know he is one of the masters saving fuel in a number 3 car, but surely he can't do 45 minutes on this tank of fuel alone. I'm just having a look, and my telemetry says you can do 28 laps, and Aeronom has done 29 so far. So we'll keep the clock on Aeronom this time to see whether he might have just been a master saving fuel, but he comes out of the corkscrew down into the second to last corner right about now. You know you're coming onto pit road because you're going to hang it left out of this corner. You won't bring the car to the right hand side. He goes on for another lap. 29 laps in the books.
We've seen a few other people who are very good at this fuel conserving business, but surely there's not enough time left for him to go all the way. As they cross the line now, they have lapped for 38 minutes, so he's got 7 more minutes if he's going to hang on. But we hear a report from Jana Matikainen to say that it is short shifting, so I'm still trying to conserve fuel even at this late stage of the race.
I say fuel, but he's only 1/10 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race, which is the 1 minute 17.971. Last time by, a 1 minute 18.083 for him, and it's incredible that what he's doing right now. I'm just having a look through the field to have a look at the times that everyone else has done. Andre Massaria's fastest lap is only 0.2 of a second faster than Aeronom. Thomas Van Boozle's fastest lap time is slower than what Aeronom did last time. Claridge only 0.4 of a second faster. David Ward has set the fastest lap of the race. That was a 1 minute 17.0. But Aeronom has found a way of saving fuel, short shifting, and still making some good lap times. And again, he will come out the second to last corner. We have ourselves 5 minutes and 45 seconds, and he comes in finally. But the important thing is now he only has to put qualifying fuel in. He'll be good to go to the end of the race. 16.3 second gap over Andre Massaria. Massaria will take the race lead. It's going to be a lot closer than we thought, actually. And Van Boozle is going to actually have to stay in that third position, because here comes Aeronom. 35 miles an hour. This is just such a horrible pit road. I have to say, so slow here. Aeronom, oh, he overshoots his pit box for the look of it. Now he will be out and away once again. Massaria, just to give you an indication, is already down into turn number 1. Aeronom is just getting himself past the commitment cone. He slings the cars into the air, and Thomas Van Boozle is about 5 seconds back. So, yes, Nom didn't win the race by strategy, and he's 4 seconds-ish behind Aeronom, behind Andre Massaro, but Aeronom has a good strategy call overall, because he qualified this race in second. Massario's beaten him, but I think Nom was trying to challenge Mick Claridge there and not Massario.
Yeah, Aeronom's done very well there. It just shows that the different strategies done really well for him, because the battle behind him between Thomas Van Boozle, David Ward and Mick Claridge is certainly not right there. And I think David Ward's actually gone past Mick Claridge away from the camera. He's now up to 4th position, with Claridge down in 5th position. So David Ward on the move again, it looks like.
So, David Ward, we talked about his issues at the start of this broadcast. Mick Claridge has had a ton of issues in this race, and actually, now Mick Claridge is 2.1 seconds back from David Ward. I am wondering But I'm having a look to see. He lost about 4 seconds that last lap, so he must have just gone off the racing surface. And I'm hoping that Mick Harris doesn't have to save fuel, otherwise he will lose a ton more time. Don't forget, after this round, still plenty of action to come in the ESRA Championship. We have 5 rounds remaining. In 2 weeks' time, the 4th race of the season at Circuit Spa-Francorchamps before we take a trip north of the border for the first time to the Canadian Tires Motorsports Park. That'll be on Bonfire Night, the 5th of November. Then we head back down to America at Barber Motorsports Park before the final 2 rounds of the season. The first in Japan at Okayama, the season's finale at the historic Silverstone Circuit. Last time, Mick Harris back on the pace, by the way, 1:18.001. David Ward, however, 1:17.946, run through your top 10. Masario, from Nom, from Van Boosel, from Ward, from Kaj, from Comini, from Beekman, from Goodison, from Hohen Heglen, from Dweck. They are your top 10. 14 cars still scored in the lead lap, and after the ton of retirees at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago, today, very small number of retirees. Come back to that one moment. Matthias Saletti, Jonathan Hershey, Andrea Demikis, Nicholas Houghton, and Doria Rashiti, and Michael Lickrew, Peter Ridley. They are all classified out of the race as Lenny Lasser is still scored as being in the race. However, he'll probably be classified as a DNF because he was out of the 90% competition
Ward
requirement.
down the inside of Van Boosel at last corner, and that's a fantastic move by David Ward. Thomas Van Boosel completely unaware, and the final stop at the podium is now the pink peril of David Ward. A fantastic move. Van Boosel obviously thought he wasn't going to do it, but straight down the inside, got it slowed down and managed to get past Van Boosel. So with 2.5 minutes to go, David Ward has just snatched that final podium position.
Yeah, and the Durex number 5 car, they were ordering a different car number today, the number 5 rather than the historic number 69 machine, in that Durex pink car. Now it becomes to the final step of the podium. And of course, this is a driver who has had power steering issues the entire race since the drop of the green flag. Had to get a new reel for this race. Of course, traffic will come into play. You see, David Ward is catching Kenneth Dummer there in the 97 car at the worst possible point on the racetrack. If Van Boosel's brave, he might try and slide down the inside as they come down into the corkscrew. Dummer, will he find a way to allow these 2 cars to go past? He slows it down into the apex and almost there. Van Boosel running into David Ward. That will actually help Ward a little bit now, because Van Boosel had to slow that car down so much he won't get a good run for the final couple of corners of the racetrack, as David Ward still hasn't managed to get himself past Dummer yet. That'll probably come out of the final corner if David Ward can just get a good apex through the corner. Dummer held him up a little bit there, but at the same time Van Boosel got held up, and now surely David Ward will be able to get himself down the inside of Kenneth Dummer as they come down into turn number 1 once again. You expect to see Dummer take a wide entry into the corner to allow the cars to go past. Oh God, that was close.
And all this has allowed Mick Claridge to catch both of them as well. Mick Claridge has managed to catch up to David Ward and Thomas Van Boosel. So we've got about 2 laps to go, I think, and we could see a 3-way shootout for that final podium position. Yeah,
Andrew Masario is working himself up the hill, so this is the second to last lap here in the 3rd round of the ESRA Championship, presented by GT Omega Racing, as Andrew Masario comes down into the corkscrew once again. I tell you what, like at the Glen, it's going to be very close on the play clock. Masario, I'm going to keep an eye out on him for the next 20 seconds or so to see when he crosses the start finish line. He has got traffic ahead of him and a 7-second advantage. Now, I always say, if you're light on fuel, then you might just want to slow yourself down a little bit. Play clock down to 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. It is going to be so close. Will this be the last lap of the race here for Masario? 3, 2, 1. We do another lap there with 1 second remaining on the play clock, Dan.
Yeah, very, very close thing there. I think Masario, if he managed to have done that properly, he could have actually had the time over Aero Nom to be able to slow it down to where he wouldn't have had to do another lap. But as it goes, we are going to have another lap, and the gap between Aero Nom and David Ward is now down to 3 seconds. So these 3 guys behind Aero Nom are closing him up very quickly, and I wonder, does Aero Nom maybe short for this car, because he seems to have dropped back quite a couple of seconds to these guys in the last lap or 2.
And I tell you what, Andrew Masario there, taking that extra lap. And I always say, if you're the leader and you want to be conservative, just allow the checkers to come out. And those checkers would have come out about 0.8 seconds, I tell it, after Andrew Masario crossed the start-finish line. And I'm having a look at Aaron Nom. He is coasting right now up the hill. I'm going to turn my attention back to Aaron on because he's just worked himself out of the corkscrew for the final time. There's just 2 corners left to go for the Team GT number 89 car. He qualified for this race in the 3rd position. Claridge has had incidents. Aaron Nom has had to short fill his car. Massario will take victory in the number 89 Team GT machine in the 3rd round of the ESRA Championship. Aaron Nom, has he got the gas he needs? He's struggling to get on the power, but he will take 2nd position away. David Ward, from nowhere, takes 3rd position, the final step of the podium. Van Boostel looks as though he was struggling for fuel on the final lap. He takes 4th. Claridge comes home 5th off the qualifying in pole position. Comini is going to take 6th. Kevin Vikum in 7th. Cole Hoagland-Hegelin in 8th. And a good to 9th. And Angelo Dweck round out your top 10. If they will get past start finish time, that is. And I tell you what, Messiah, in my opinion, he played a strategy game right there, hoping that some of his championship rivals were going to be short field and would lose points. Didn't really work for him. He had to do the extra lap and no one behind him really lost any positions at all. But still, very close there at the play clock, coming past the start finish line. And also, incredible battle with Ward, Van Boostel, Claridge in those last couple of laps.
It's just as you said, Will, towards the end of the race, the cars actually bunched up together again. We had the spreading out a bit, but yeah, it's been a good battle between Ward, Van Boostel and Claridge. And I think Claridge will be very disappointed that 5th position because he had the spin and the side swipe wasn't his fault, but just events conspired against him in traffic. But Andre Massaio and Aaron Nom had the better strategy, and as a result, they've leapt up in front. But David Ward with their power steering, that's quite a credible drive to get 3rd place. And it's been a very good race. We've had some good close racing, a few fraught moments with traffic, and I think overall it's been a very good 3rd round here from Laguna Seca.
So then, let's run through your final race results. And Andre Massario, in a time of 46 minutes and 12 seconds, takes victory by 10.5 seconds over Aaron Nom. David Ward 3rd, Thomas Van Boostel 4th, Nick Claridge in 5th. A great battle, 3rd through 5th at the end of this race. Diego Comini in 6th position, Kevin Vikum in 7th, Cole Hoagland-Hegelin in 8th, and a good in 9th, and Axel Dweck round out your top 10. Nick Phillips in 11th, Robert Wheat in 12th, Manu Palumbo in 13th, Oliver Kozak 14th, Patrice Lanquette 15th, Jose Almeida in 16th. In the 17th position on the racetrack is Dranio Bernardi, 18th Sebastian Ferreira, 19th is Concable, and Sasa Prosen rounds out your top 20. Rest of the results coming up on your screen in a moment. Don't forget, by the way, you can head over to iRacing.com right now and get yourself half price off your first 3 months membership. And if you haven't heard about iRacing before and you've randomly stumbled across this on YouTube, have a look. This is what iRacing is all about. We'll be back in 1 moment with post-race. Hello, welcome back to the post-race show from Muscle Race with Glenn Sake will be on air for like 2 or 3 minutes. Dan, we talked about how the field is going to spread out. We talked about how lap traffic is going to come into play. And unfortunately, the biggest victim of that was your race leader, Mick Claridge, who, of course, had that incident coming out of pit road, and then also then had that incident down at the corkscrew as well. Thomas Van Boesel's been in the walls a little bit. Kevin Beekeman's been in the walls a little bit, but Andrew Massario, looking as though he was very lucky here today.
Andre Massario seemed to have that little bit of luck that you need in races like this. He had the skill and also the luck. I don't think he got caught up with a bit of traffic, but I don't think he really had a scary moment. David Ward was very lucky as well on that first lap with the Amano Palumbo collision with Diego Comini. That could have ended David Ward's race right there, but he had a bit of luck. But yeah, as you said, I think Andre Massario, a well-deserved winner from this race. Also, Aaron Nom was a very, very credible second place, and just that long run, me and you didn't even know if he was going to come into the pits or not. You stretch it that far, so very good fuel conservation there from Aero Nom. But as you said before, traffic played its part and it helped stretch the field. And unfortunately, Mick Claridge is the victim of the traffic.
Getting some word, Diego Comini's very upset at the fact that he took out pretty much his teammate at the start of the race. We saw that, of course, the Team GT drivers getting themselves together. But it's very interesting. I said at the start of the broadcast, the field was spread out and then it will bring itself back together again. It's kind of exactly what we saw, and what a great battle at the end of the race from David Ward, Thomas Van Boesel, Mick Claridge towards the end of the race. And if I tell you what, Aero Nom, very lucky there that he put enough fuel in, because he was losing ground those last couple of laps.
Yeah, I don't think Thomas Van Boesel imagined David Ward taking a dive down the inside with 2 laps to go. That's a very, very good move there from David Ward. He had to make it perfectly, and he did make it perfect. So, very good move from him. And yeah, Aaron Nom would be lucky that he did fill his car up enough because they were catching him up. And I think it had been a lap or two more, then I think we would have seen quite a few cars with fuel problems. But Andrea Massero, luckily taking that extra lap did not affect him, and he went on to take the victory. But yeah, I think David Ward, Aero Nom, Thomas, I think all the cars that were chasing Aero Nom were definitely a lot quicker than him. So it's quite lucky that the race finished when it did for him, because I think he was running low on fuel.
Drive the race?
That's a tough one. It's going to have to go to Andre Masseria, though. I think he did very well. Although David Ward, with the power steering issues and all the problems he's had, that's a very good drive from him in 3rd place. And yes, I think it's going to have to go between Masseria and David Ward.
Well, don't forget, plenty more racing coming your way on Glacier TV. Of course, we'll be back for the 4th round of the ESRA Championship in 2 weeks' time. That'll be from the shortest track of the season to the longest track, Circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. In fact, actually, that will be in 2 weeks' time, and that will be same time, same place, and the magical Brazilian racetrack. Of course, the rest of the schedule after that: Canadian Tires Motorsport Park, Barda Motorsports Park, Okayama Circuit, and then finishing the season at Silverstone. And of course, coming your way on the 19th of October, we have ourselves the iRacing.com Talladega 500. Start time for that will be 7 p.m. GMT. Got an exclusive interview with Gregor Hutu coming your way this weekend. Plenty more. For more information, head over to GlacierTV.com. This has been a Glacier TV presentation of the ESRA Daytona Riley Championship, brought to you by GT Omega Racing. For myself, Will Benson, and from Dan Blake. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Spa. Bye-bye.
Bye.